Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today, straight from my heart. He thought you'd break, but your silence broke him first. Let me tell you something real today, something most people don't understand until life forces them to learn it the hard way. Silence, my friends, is sometimes more powerful than all the words you could ever say. Now, I know that goes against what we've been taught. We grow up thinking that if somebody disrespects you, you got to clap back. If someone throws words at you, you got to throw words right back, maybe even louder. But the real truth, the grown truth, the strong truth is this. There's a force in silence that words can't match. Silence carries a weight, an energy that shakes people deeper than shouting ever could. See, when you answer every attack, when you react to every little thing thrown your way, you give away your power, piece by piece. You let people pull you into their storm. But when you stay quiet, when you choose to hold your peace, you stay in control. And that control, that's real strength. You're no longer dancing to their tune, no longer moving the way they want you to move. You're standing firm, solid, unshaken. And let me tell you, nothing confuses people more than someone they can't provoke. They expect you to lash out. They want to see you angry, upset, flustered. That's how they win. That's how they feel powerful, by watching you fall apart. But when you look them in the eye and give them nothing but silence, that right there is a mirror, and people don't like mirrors when they're in the wrong. Your silence forces them to face themselves, forces them to feel the weight of their own actions without your reaction to shield them from it. Silence speaks a language that only the guilty and the weak understand deep down. It says, you can't touch me. It says, your words are empty here. It says, I am not moved by your noise. And while they're shouting and throwing chaos at you, you're standing tall in peace. And that peace is louder than anything they can scream. You see, there's an old saying, never wrestle with a pig, because you both get dirty and the pig likes it. Some folks out there, they want to drag you into the dirt because that's where they feel strong. That's their playground. But silence refuses to play. Silence says, I will not lower myself to your level. And in doing so, it lifts you higher. It separates you from the mess, sets you apart from the noise. And while they sink deeper, you rise. That's why silence breaks people. Not because it's weak, but because it's so strong it exposes their weakness. It turns the spotlight back on them. They can't hide behind your reaction anymore. They can't say, look how they acted, because you gave them nothing to work with. And in that nothingness, they crumble. In that silence, they hear the echo of their own wrongs. So understand this. Every time you stay silent in the face of drama, in the face of provocation, you are exercising a muscle far stronger than your voice. The muscle of restraint, the muscle of self-control. And that muscle, that's the one that wins battles you don't even have to fight. That's the muscle that makes people realize you're not someone they can break. Because while they came prepared for a fight, ready to see you explode, they weren't ready for your calm. They weren't ready for your silence. And that silence, my friend, is what will shake them to their core. It's what will break them before they ever get close to breaking you. People will always look at you and make the mistake of thinking they know your strength just by what they see on the surface. They see your kindness and they call it weakness. They see your patience and they call it fear. They see your silence and they call it defeat. But what they don't see is the fire that's burning inside you, that inner strength that doesn't make noise but moves mountains in silence. That's where they get it wrong. And that's why they get broken when you refuse to fall the way they expected. See, people often underestimate your strength because they measure it by their own shallow standards. They think strength is loud. They think it's in throwing the first punch, in raising your voice, in fighting every little battle. They think power is in showing aggression, in making a scene, in proving a point at every opportunity. But real strength is in endurance. It's in surviving hits that should have knocked you down. It's in staying upright when everything around you is designed to break your spirit. They don't know about the nights you cried and still got up the next morning with your head high. They don't see the silent battles you fought in your own mind, the ones that left no scars on your body, but left deep marks on your soul. And every time you stood back up from those battles, your strength grew. Every time they pushed you, expecting you to break, and you stayed calm, stayed focused, you added another layer to your armor. That's the strength they can't see, and that's the strength they can't be. See, people love to label you based on moments. They see you pause and they call you weak. They see you avoid the drama and they say you're scared. They see you not reacting and they assume you've given up. But you and I both know that sometimes the strongest move is the one that looks like nothing at all. It's standing still when everything inside you wants to lash out. It's choosing peace when you're surrounded by chaos. It's walking away when every part of you wants to fight back. That takes power. That takes discipline. And that takes an inner strength most people will never understand because they've never had to build it. And let me tell you something else. People who try to break you, they're not counting on your strength. They're counting on your weakness. They're counting on your reaction. They think if they press hard enough, you'll fall apart because that's what they would do. But you've built different. You've been through too much, survived too many storms to let small people with small minds shake your foundation. Every storm you've walked through has made you stronger, even if nobody else saw it. And that's why when they come at you ready to see you break, they end up breaking themselves because they can't comprehend how you keep standing. They can't understand how their weapons have no effect on you. Your strength isn't in proving them wrong with words. It's in living every day with dignity while they sink lower. It's in shining brighter every time they try to dim your light. And every time they underestimate you, they give you the upper hand because while they're busy planning your downfall, you're quietly building your rise. While they're wasting energy trying to break you, you're gaining strength by staying unbroken. That's the secret they'll never figure out until it's too late. Until they realize that the person they thought was weak had a well of strength deeper than anything they could have imagined. And that's why you don't need to shout, you don't need to explain, and you don't need to fight every battle. Just keep standing, keep rising, keep letting your inner strength do the talking. Because the day will come when they'll look at you and finally understand they never had a chance to break someone built from struggle, someone whose strength has already been tested and proven long before they ever tried. There's a certain kind of power in staying calm when the world expects you to fall apart. And the truth is, nothing confuses your enemies more than when you refuse to react the way they want you to. See, when people come against you, they're counting on one thing, your reaction. They're hoping to pull you into the storm they created to make you feel what they feel, to make you lose your balance so they can claim victory over your fall. But when you stand still in the middle of that storm, when you stay calm while they rage, it throws them off. It shakes them more than any words you could shout or any fight you could start, because they built their whole plan on the idea that you'd break, that you'd lose control, that you'd meet their anger with more anger. And when you don't, oh, that's when the real confusion sets in. Your calmness under pressure is not weakness, it's a weapon. It's a strategy that disarms the very people who thought they could control you, because they can handle someone who argues back. They can handle a loud fight. They can handle drama because that's their territory. That's where they feel strong. But they cannot handle silence. They cannot handle peace. They cannot handle someone who refuses to play the game by their rules. And every time you stay calm while they escalate, every time you smile while they shout, every time you keep your peace while they try to drag you into war, you win without lifting a finger. See, pressure is the enemy's favorite tool. They turn up the heat thinking you'll melt. They pile on the stress thinking you'll snap. But what they don't understand is that pressure doesn't break diamonds, it creates them. And when you stay calm under that pressure, you show them that you're not glass, you're not fragile, you're not weak. You're built for this. You've been through worse and survived. And every time you keep your cool, you remind them that their tactics are useless against someone who knows their own power. Your calmness forces them to look inward, and they don't like what they see. Because when they can't provoke you, they have to deal with their own frustration. They have to face the reality that they have no control over you. And control, that's what they crave the most. Your calmness snatches that control away from them, leaving them powerless in their own game. And that's why they get louder, more desperate, more aggressive, because your calmness is breaking them down from the inside out. But staying calm isn't easy. It takes discipline. It takes strength. It takes knowing who you are and trusting that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. It takes believing that your peace is more valuable than any temporary victory that comes from shouting back. And every time you choose that calmness, you're not just confusing your enemies, you're protecting your own spirit. You're keeping your energy clean. You're refusing to let their chaos become your chaos. And that's the real win. So the next time someone tries to push your buttons, the next time life turns up the pressure, remember this. They're expecting you to explode. They're waiting for you to lose control so they can point and say, look, they're just like us. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stay calm, stay centered. Let them drown in their own noise while you stand in silence. Because that silence, that calmness is your strength, is your shield. And it's the very thing that will leave your enemies confused, frustrated, and defeated, all without you ever having to raise your voice. Silence has a way of turning the mirror back on people. And that's why it's so powerful. When you stay silent, you force others to face their own actions in a way that no argument or explanation ever could. See, when you react, when you fight back, you give them something to focus on besides themselves. You give them an excuse. They can point at your anger, your words, your reaction and say, see, they're the problem too. It becomes a game of deflection, a back and forth, where no one really has to take responsibility. But when you go silent, when you step back and refuse to play, suddenly they left standing alone in their mess. There's nothing to hide behind anymore. No distraction, no counterattack, no defense. Just their own words, their own actions, echoing in the empty space where your voice used to be. And let me tell you, that silence is louder than any shout. It rings in their ears and forces them to sit with the weight of what they've done. People don't like to face themselves. They rather blame you. They rather paint you as the villain because that's easier than admitting they crossed a line. That's easier than sitting with guilt or shame. But your silence leaves them no choice. It strips away their excuses and makes them deal with the raw truth. And that's why it breaks them. Not because you attacked, but because you didn't. Not because you stooped to their level, but because you stayed above it. Your silence becomes a judgment all its own, a kind of quiet power that forces them to look inward. And that's the one place they don't want to go. It's like holding up a mirror and making them stare. No words, no arguments, no debates. Just their own reflection looking back at them. And in that reflection, they see everything they tried to ignore. They see the pain they caused. They see the manipulation, the lies, the disrespect. They see the damage they've done. And without your voice to drown it out, that reality hits hard. Harder than any insult you could throw. Harder than any revenge you could plan. Because nothing hurts the guilty more than being left alone with their own conscience. And the longer you stay silent, the louder that conscience becomes. It starts small, maybe a flicker of doubt, maybe a flash of discomfort, but over time it grows, it gnaws at them, it whispers in the quiet moments in the middle of the night when there's no one else around to blame. And that's when the real breaking begins. Not from outside pressure, but from the inside out. Your silence planted the seed, and their own guilt waters it until it grows too big to ignore. But let me be clear. Staying silent doesn't mean you're weak or that you're letting them win. It means you're playing a longer, deeper game. It means you're letting life and their own conscience do the work that words never could. Because no matter how much they try to deny it, deep down they know, they feel it, they carry it with them every day, even if they never admit it out loud. And while they struggle with that weight, you remain untouched, unbothered, free. That's your victory. Not in shouting them down, but in rising above, in staying centered while they fall apart from within. So the next time someone wrongs you, the next time they try to pull you into their chaos, remember this. Your silence is not surrender. It's a mirror. It's a weapon. It's a force that makes them confront themselves in a way no fight ever will. And while they wrestle with their own reflection, you keep walking forward. Strong, steady, and unshaken. True power isn't about how loud you can shout or how fast you can strike back. It's not in your reaction, no matter how clever or cutting your words might be. True power is in your self-control. It's in your ability to master your own emotions while the world tries its best to pull you out of character. Anybody can react. Anybody can lose their temper, slam doors, raise their voice, and throw around anger when they're provoked. That's easy. That's what weak people do, because they think the loudest person in the room is the strongest. But real strength, the kind that lasts, the kind that can't be shaken, is in the person who chooses to stay calm, to stay steady, even when every part of them is tempted to explode. See, self-control is not about suppressing your feelings. It's about directing them. It's about knowing that just because someone disrespects you doesn't mean you have to lower yourself to their level. Just because they throw dirt doesn't mean you have to get dirty too. That's the trap they set for you, to make you react, to make you show weakness by giving away your peace. And the moment you do, they win, because now they control you. Now they've turned your power into their entertainment. But when you practice self-control, you refuse to give them that satisfaction. You hold on to your power like a crown, unshaken by the noise around you. And that kind of discipline, that's rare. That's special. That's what makes people sit up and take notice, because they can't understand how you stay so calm when they're doing everything to provoke you. And mommy says, but let me tell you something. Self-control doesn't just protect your peace, it multiplies your power. Every time you choose not to react, you grow stronger. Every time you walk away from drama instead of diving into it, you build a kind of mental muscle that makes you unbreakable. And over time, people learn they can't manipulate you. They can't push your buttons because you don't hand them the remote. You keep your power within, and that makes you dangerous in the best way. Not because you're loud, not because you're aggressive, but because you can't be controlled. That's what true power looks like. Steady, quiet, focused. And let's be real, self-control is hard. It's not natural to stay calm when someone's attacking you. It's not easy to hold your peace when your pride is screaming to defend itself. But every time you resist that urge to react, you elevate yourself. You separate yourself from the crowd of people who are slaves to their emotions, who live their lives in a constant state of reaction. You rise above that chaos and become the person who moves with intention, not impulse. And that kind of person can be broken. People will try to test you. Life will throw pressure at you. But your self-control will be your shield. It will protect your energy, your mind, your spirit, and the more you master it, the less anyone else can affect you. They can try. Oh, they will try, but they'll fail because you don't dance to their tune. You dance to your own rhythm, and that makes you powerful in a way they can't touch. To understand this, power isn't in the punch you throw, it's in the one you choose not to. Power isn't in the argument you win, it's in the peace you keep while others lose theirs. Power isn't in reaction, it's in restraint. And every time you exercise that self-control, you remind the world that you are the master of your own fate, not a puppet controlled by someone else's chaos. That's unshakable, undeniable strength. And once you claim that, there's nothing and no one that can take it away from you. Silence, when used right, can be the sharpest weapon you have. People expect revenge to look loud, they expect anger, they expect a scene, they expect payback that matches the pain they caused. But real revenge doesn't always need noise. Sometimes the greatest revenge is your silence. It's in the way you withdraw your energy, your attention, your presence, and leave them standing in the emptiness they created. It's in the way you refuse to give them the satisfaction of seeing you broken, rattled, or desperate to get even. Your silence says more than any words ever could. It tells them they no longer have power over you. And that realization hurts deeper than any argument, deeper than any fight. When you go silent, you deny them your reaction. And that's what they crave the most. They want to see you angry because it makes them feel important. They want to see you fighting back because it keeps them at the center of your world. But when you go quiet, when you choose peace over chaos, that's when they realize they've lost their grip on you. And let me tell you, nothing eats at a person more than knowing they couldn't break you. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their failure back at them every single day. And they have to live with that. They have to sit in the silence they once thought would crush you, but instead is crushing them. Silence is powerful because it forces people to face themselves. Without your words to argue with, without your presence to blame, They're left with only their own conscience, their own guilt, their own actions. And that's a heavy burden to carry. Every time they try to justify what they did, your silence stands there as a reminder that no excuse will change the truth. Every time they try to act like nothing happened, your absence speaks louder, reminding them of the space they created by pushing you away. That is revenge without lifting a finger. That is victory without saying a word. And don't think silence means you're weak or passive. No, it takes incredible strength to stay quiet when every part of you wants to shout. It takes discipline to walk away when revenge feels like the easier option. But that choice, that self-control, that refusal to engage, that's what sets you apart. That's what turns your silence into a weapon that cuts deeper than anger ever could. Because anger fades, fights get forgotten, but the cold weight of silence, that lingers. That sticks with people. That wakes them up in the middle of the night. Your silence is your boundary. It says, I am done explaining. I am done proving. I am done giving you access to my energy. And that is the greatest revenge you can serve. Cutting them off from your light, your love, your attention, and letting them feel the emptiness they created. No drama, no confrontation, just a steady, unbothered peace of someone who knows their worth and refuses to let anyone drag them down. So let them wonder why you're so calm. Let them feel the weight of your silence. Because every day you stay silent, every day you refuse to react, you're winning, you're rising. You're taking back your power in a way they never saw coming. And trust me, nothing will haunt them more than the sound of the silence they once mistook for weakness, only to realize it was the sound of you taking back your strength